Is the queen.
What's up, Ember?
I see you, Ember.
I only have eyes for Ember.
But hey, Ember is hot. Hello, everyone. Happy Women's History Month. We've made it to March. We've survived into the third month of 2026 despite all expectations. And today, it is my devilish delight to be joined by the one and only Deviant Outcast, the most deviant of deviants. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I have way too many windows open.
I know the feeling.
Somewhere there is a window. Oh, there. That's weird. Ha! Like so many windows and several hundreds of tabs in each window, and suddenly, I'm here. Everything is good. No panic.
just making it. You're already. You're fine. It's all good. It's all good. Today we're going to be discussing one of your favorite and mine women historical figures, Hatshepsut, who is not the only female pharaoh, but she's remarkable for a few different reasons. One of them being that the people who came after her tried their best to erase her. And would you say it was sort of like a Streisand effect, how the fact they tried to erase her made her more memorable?
No. Sadly, I mean, I would say that's more the case for Tutankhamun.
I mean, it's a pretty fabulous tomb.
Yeah, and the reason that the tomb was intact was because no one knew to look for it.
Oh,
And yeah, while in the case of Hatshepsut, she was so completely forgotten that when her temple, her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari was, and I have to apologize because I have a headache. I have taken all the medicines, but I'm still a bit. I try to focus, and my eyes go everywhere.
I know the feeling. It's. I've been in bad shape all weekend, and I'm still working on it. But we do what we can. We take the medicine and we go on. But I will give you a quick break because I want to say hello to everybody. Hello, thank you all for joining. If you're new here, please take a second to hit the subscribe button. We're here every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern doing deep dives every single day. Or more precisely, I'm here. Sometimes Deviant's here, sometimes Lil is here, sometimes other people. But I mentioned Lil because she used a member chat, 6 months of membership. Yay! And said, Ember and Diva, awesome combo. And then she comboed herself with gifting 5 Emberships. So hell yeah, Lil is just rocking it this morning, starting the week off on a freaking amazing note. Those went to Ryan, also Ryan Coltastic, and then Ryan Murphy, respectively. It looks like Plurf, Tanya Stories, Phoenix Wildfire, maybe. My monitor's very small. I'm doing my best with a couple of pixels, but I think I probably got those. So congratulations, folks. Enjoy all the fun custom emojis and the other assorted perks that come with membership, like member exclusive content, member only live stream, early access to new pre-recorded stuff when I can manage it, all the various goodies. And if you'd like it, please consider becoming a permanent member. It helps me a lot, like a lot. I can't even begin to describe. But also, there's if you out there, you don't have to get a gift membership to become a member. You can just click the join button. There's 3 different levels of support for just 99 cents a month, less than the cost of a cup of coffee. You can become a member at the match level, and you'll get access to all those amazing custom emojis. At a higher level, then you get access to all the behind the scenes members exclusive stuff at $2.99, and at $4.99, still less than the cost of some cups of coffee. That's the Cinder level. That's where you get your name in the credits and all the things that I have available. So there's ways to support. There's free ways to support too, like hitting the subscribe button, like commenting after the fact, like using the share button, because the algorithm sure isn't going to share this. So I appreciate all the help y'all can do. And on a somewhat related but unrelated note, there's other stuff that we're afoot. There's a bunch of other ways you can support on the website, betterthanember.com, also up there in the corner. And on betterthanember.com, you might find my newest pride flag. Yeah, another one. I've had a busy weekend. The bi flag. I'm trying to build out the entire LGBTQIA. Next is Q, but most of the rest are there. Plus, there's some additional ones, and of course, the main pride flag sort of thing. But the bi flag is interesting because the bi flag is unique in that it has 2 stripes. It's the only one with 2 stripes and this optical illusion that makes it look like there's 3. What you're seeing, as you might be able to guess from the colors, that center region is a zone of overlap. So, and there's historical reason for this. It comes from the bi-angles from the 1970s. The lesbians were trying to reappropriate the pink triangle from the German movement of earlier in the century, and they used a blue triangle to represent heterosexuality. And so the early bi movement took the lesbian pink triangle and the blue hetero triangle and then overlapped them to create a third triangle between them that was purplish, and that's where the bi people live. So when they made a bi flag, the person took that because the overlap is key, and the historical representation of reappropriating the pink triangle, and use that to make the flag. So that's easy enough to do with colors. But if you're using real space imagery like I am, I needed to find 2 images that could overlap, produce the right colors in their own stripe as well as in the overlap zone, and work together. So this took some doing, and I hope y'all appreciate. The top part is the Rose Nebula. The bottom part, you probably already know if you're any bit of a space nerd like me, is the Seven Sisters. It's the Pleiades. But the way the gas of the Pleiades blends with the gas from the lower part of the Rose Nebula, it actually works. So I'm very pleased with this one. So I hope y'all enjoy. You can find that flag in flag form and sticker form, plus all the other flags at the store on betterthanember.com. That's a lot of capitalism for morning. And I know Maya will yell at me for you focus on one thing, Amber, but I really wanted to show off the flag. So thank y'all for bearing with me.
I'm still hoping for a PTSD and ADHD flag. And I have been thinking about it. Maybe it would be better with like CPTSD and just general neuron diversity.
Well, do bear in mind, I mean, both groups of representation are important in a separate way, right? Like race is separate from sexuality and so on and so forth. But neurodivergence, autism, ADHD, so on and so forth, those are things that you're born with, whereas PTSD, CPTSD, and other things like that are the result of trauma. It's very important to be aware of both, but it's equally important to know they're from different sources, you know?
Of course. my reasoning, I mean, I have several reasonings, one being I want one of your stunning flags. And though that it's something that's close to my heart, so it's basically that I'm doing a very poor job at convincing you to adopt my my passion project for you to adopt.
So what you're trying to say is you want me to design a PTSD flag?
Yes. Because there is no such flag. There are ribbons. There are
We
ribbons for it.
like ribbons. Yeah, that's a popular thing.
Yeah, and I have noticed that it's very, very, first of all, PTSD, and even more so CPTSD, but both of them are something that very few people understand and a lot of people have. And many of them have a comorbidity with some neurodiversity
Oh,
of some
definitely.
sort.
Yeah, for sure.
And I
Let's
love
see.
your flags.
So it looks like there isn't really a lot of differentiation with the way the things are treated. Like the ribbon color for PTSD is teal. CPTSD just gets the C put in front of it and still crammed in with the teal. And there's similarities, but there's also important differences, because the complex PTSD resulting from long periods or multiple traumas, I mean, it's all unique, but there are similarities, but there's also important differences. But the only thing that I'm coming up with over and over is the general purpose disability pride flag, which is a version of the pride flag with the purple replaced with the teal, and it's the rainbow, but it's turned sideways. Oh, also, it looks like the green is replaced with white for some reason. It's not important. It's a rainbow, and it's turned at an angle, and there's black on both sides. That's the disability pride flag. And I'm like, yes, disability pride is important too, but that's not the same thing, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, because I saw that one too when I was Googling around to see what was out there. And I mean, yeah, it is a form of disability, but it's too broad. It's like you said about PTSD is just a teal ribbon, and CPTSD is also a teal ribbon that reads PTSD, but there is a C in front of it, and that annoys me because, as you pointed out, there are important differences between the two. I've had both. I only have one of them left, and that's, of course, CPTSD. But I have experienced both. The reason there isn't a specific ribbon for CPTSD is that they have it's not yet an official separate diagnosis, even though there are specific separate treatments for PTSD and CPTSD. You
Right.
treat
And
them differently, but they, for some moron, basically when they did, is it DSM-5 still? Yeah, I think so.
yeah, I think we're on that.
Yeah, they went rather in the direction of lumping as many conditions into one. which is why there is no such thing as Asperger's. It's just autism, even though there is a distinction between what used to be diagnosed as autism and Asperger. And I don't really see the utility in lumping. It's like, yeah, there are so many different flus and things, and you have fever and you're sniffly, and we just take out all of the others and just call it flu.
Or cold.
Even yeah, or
Yeah,
cold.
we like to umbrella things because of similarity to how they seem from the outside, not necessarily the similarity of the internal experience, which is very much the case with PTSD versus CPTSD. Like the way
Exactly.
you experience it is different. You know, I mean, just for
Yeah.
one example, PTSD, because it's one traumatic event. And I don't mean traumatic as in, oh no, the library ran out of the book I wanted. Like traumatic,
No,
like
no.
it fucks you up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's an acute situation, and so people feel like their life has been changed by what happened to them. Whereas CPTSD, because it's a series of events or it's an ongoing state, it's not acute, it's chronic, and the person feels not just changed but damaged by it,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, and it also it affects. So like I quite early understood that I had, when I heard about PTSD for the first time, I realized that was the the base issue, my number one problem. Let's just express ourselves that way.
Mm.
Uh, does it sound like I'm slurring?
Not slurring exactly. It sounds like it's taking you slightly longer than usual to find your words, and that
Yeah.
the words are harder to articulate, but they're not slurred per se.
Okay. Good. No, and that makes sense because, as I said, I'm the headachy thingy majig. But I sometimes I get the feeling like, am I also kind of slurring? But no, good, good. Um, no, so I understood that it was PTSD, but I when I read about the symptoms for PTSD, I recognized them, but not really in the way it was described. So, for instance, you have flashbacks, both with PTSD and with uh, CPTSD. But with PTSD, the flashbacks are oftentimes that you find yourself back in the situation, where the classic example is a veteran who's been at war and has, uh, I'm always about to say contracted PTSD. It's not a germ. It's not a
Right?
bacteria.
It's a thing that happens. Well, I mean, I suppose infection from germs is something that happens to you, but
Yeah, yeah, but
it's not the same.
PTSD
It's
isn't
literally an
something.
injury. It's just an injury to your psyche. In fact, it
Yeah.
can come with traumatic brain injury too. It often does,
Hmm.
but it's an injury psychologically. It's
Yeah.
one of the few reasons that even hardcore skeptics like myself consider that disciplines like psychology actually do have some merit.
Yeah. So in those cases, a flashback is oftentimes that you are back in that specific situation where, let's say, you're a soldier in war, and the the camp you were sleeping in was hit by a bomb, and you're reliving that moment over and over and over, when you have been triggered and so forth, and you see it in your mind's eye and all of that. But when your trauma is something that has been ever changing over a long period of time, it's not one instance or a not warded off, a closed off period of time where you have been afraid for your life. It's constant, but what's happening might be minor. It's not necessarily direct threats to your life, but you have this constant flow of, is it cortisol?
Cortisol's one of the things, but yeah, in some ways, a threat to your life is easier because you know how to respond to a threat to your life. You know, I mean, it's not good to live under a constant threat to your life. But if someone comes at you with a weapon, cool. Now we're in self-defense territory. I can fight back. No one will judge me for it. No one will hate me for it. I may have to sort things out with the police after, but I know what I'm expected to do and allowed to do. But if someone is specifically not threatening your life or putting your life in danger and is hurting you otherwise, now it's muddier. Am I allowed to fight back? Well, I get in trouble if I fight back, you know?
Yeah, and that makes the response paths in your brain much more convoluted and complex. I have no idea how we ended up here. Oh, I wanted my flag.
Yes, you it was my tangent from the flag. Miranda says, Deviant, the ability to discuss complex topics in a foreign language with a severe headache is way more than I could do. You are amazing. And if you're going to compliment me, Deviant, you're going to have to take them too. So there.
Thank you. I'll remember that and be kinder to myself while I stare down into the desk and hide from the monitor.
It is an important topic. I mean, you know, as I often say, people come for the tangents and stay for the science. And as Eric says, I've never even heard of CPTSD. So yeah, actually, while you were talking, Deviant, I realized this is another topic that even people who are roughly aware of could use a lot more educating on. So I've added it to the topics list. And there's so much to say. And honestly, our entire secular community could do with a lot more trauma awareness and education on the subject, because you know, on the earlier show, the abuse cultists, the conspiracy folks who sprung up out of our community came to mind. They came up in conversation, and one of the reasons they're behaving in this hurtful, abusive way is because they don't understand a damn thing about trauma, and they think they do because they've been talking to ChatGPT. So we really need to do some education about this. So I've added it as a topic. It'll be coming up. But we're going to take a quick break. I want to show y'all. I'm in the midst of upgrading my Apologist Supercut. I've got some things on there and some things not, because yesterday was fucking crazy. But there's more to it than there was the last time you saw this. So it's a 3-minute break now. I'm going to play this, and when we come back, we're going to dive into Deviant's background, which is to say, Hatshepsut. All right.
Yay!
I have a problem with this stuff being normalized across the spectrum. And specifically, like, why push this on kids? Why introduce this to kids?
It's better because it's better.
How, though?
Yeah, because it's better.
Can you make an argument for it?
Sure, because it's better. In what ways?
The ways in which it's better.
I am a depraved wretch. I am a great sinner. I'm a worm, completely undeserving of any love or any grace. I'm nothing. I'm nothing.
You're incapable of being a good person. You're an evil person. You're a terrible person. At the core fabric of who you are. That's why we need laws. We need laws because we're bad people. All of us are bad people.
You can't spell Pride Month without demon. PRIDEMONTH.
If we don't know who the women are, because there are just people, then we won't be able to pull the women up to equality with men.
We have to try to limit the harm. And that means reducing or keeping down the number of people who transition. And that's for two reasons. One of them is that every one of those people is a person who's been damaged. But the second one is every one of those people is basically, you know, a huge problem to a sane world.
Transgenderism must be eradicated.
Carl, that kills people.
The LGBT, transgender, grooming our children's minds is a national security threat. We need to hold people for treason, start having some public hearings, and start executing people.
I will use whatever gives me victory. I don't care about the truth, and I don't care about the law. I care about one thing, the control.
But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president.
Then what happened is they rigged the election, and I became president, so that was a good thing.
I agreed with many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president, but I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
I just want to say I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
It was actually a tremendous blessing to these children for them to be killed and go to heaven and be with God.
We've been hoodwinked. We've been taken in by an ideology crafted by creeps and then pushed on children.
Stop letting people pressure you into thinking.
If they die, they die.
I want to be ignorant, honestly.
Being a Christian doesn't exclude us from experiencing spiritual dryness.
We're bad people. All of us are bad people.
All right, that was an adventure. I hope you enjoy the new parts. In fact, there's another new part that I just became aware of this morning. Apparently, this fella named Ted Cruz, you may have heard of him. He believes that Americans should come together and stop attacking the pedophiles. And so that's going in there.
Oh my.
Andrew noticed that Carl's back. Yes, I know. I heard everybody missed it. And I'm like, I was trying to keep it from getting stupid long, but like there's no point. I may as well make it enjoyable or as enjoyable as possible. Oh goodness. All right. Hatshepsut. So who is this person?
There she is. I was looking for because you probably have become more acquainted with the image of me that I have here in StreamYard or wherever we are.
This
there.
one?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the background, you see I'm flanked by Hatshepsut. And my avatar, when you see me in chat, is Hatshepsut. So, who is this woman? Where to start? It's so funny because other times when I have been invited here to speak about something about Egypt, I've always felt like I need to prep. I need to refresh my memory.
Mm-hmm.
With this, no prepping needed.
It's
rather
just
the opposite.
We're okay. So many people.
There was so much that I earlier today actually prepped a tiny bit to do like a, okay, where to start, like an outline.
Okay.
Like, because there are so many things that you could go into, so many aspects that ties into like how ancient Egypt functioned as a country and why, and the geography of and the history and the. So I was thinking Hatshepsut was the daughter of Thutmose the First, of the new 18th dynasty in the New Kingdom.
The 18th was a popular dynasty. Maybe I'm mistaken, but weren't they the ones responsible for the medical letters that we did a couple of streams ago?
Yeah. So the New Kingdom, which starts with the 18th dynasty, is like the apex of this culture. They also have another apex, which, funnily enough, is right in the beginning of the nation state,
Starting
when
out
they
strong.
built pyramids and all of that.
Tip of the pyramid was the apex. Amazing.
But then you have the intermediate period, and you have the Middle Kingdom, which is, of course, flourishes and so forth, but it's also kind of a recovering from the first intermediate period. Not to say that nothing happens there.
Sure. Now, for those who are noobs to this, the intermediate period is sort of like a period where there isn't like a cohesive nation. It's just all kind of everybody for themselves.
Yes, there isn't a singular nation state, and there are 3 intermediate periods. The first one we have almost no evidence of, and it looks like a complete disintegration of the state.
How does that happen?
It happens, usually it happens through a succession of kings that either oftentimes it starts with someone who rules for a very long time, becomes very old, and so that when their successor comes to the throne, they are very old themselves.
Oh. Like England.
Like England. They don't have children, or children who can take over. And it's also oftentimes timed with, like, the third intermediate period that comes after the New Kingdom, that occurs at the time of the late Bronze Age collapse, which affects Egypt, but not at all to the degree it does everywhere else in the Mediterranean. So it's a period where Egypt is weak for one or often several reasons at the same time, and warring factions from outside comes in, or maybe as is also the case, the priesthood becomes too big, or the royal family splits in two, and suddenly you once again have you don't have the two lands, Upper and Lower Egypt. You have Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. So when Hatshepsut is born, she is right in the beginning after the second intermediate period is the period where Egypt is invaded by the Hyksos, and the country is divided into two, like upper and lower, where the Hyksos reigns in Lower Egypt, meaning the delta, and Upper Egypt is in Thebes. And a lot of things, when the Hyksos is driven out. So here is my issue, because this is important, but I don't know how deep I want to go into it. After the Hyksos has been dispelled, order is restored. Huh?
And if you want to go deep into it, get you some garlic bread. Yeah, that'll help. I mean, garlic bread always helps. I'm true. I'm sorry, Deviant. I could not resist. I'm insatiable.
Hey, I never say no to garlic bread, and it can come in many forms. Actually,
it's true.
So the Hyksos are gone. They have been cast out of Egypt by basically what is, so he is king, but he rules from Thebes, modern day Luxor, ancient Waset. Thebes is where the great Karnak and Luxor temples are today. This is a city where the main god, the local god, is Amun. And Amun is in the pantheon. He is the king of the gods.
He's the brightest light.
The brightest of light. So of course he has a huge. There is this strong connection between the pharaoh and the power and the kingship on earth, and this god king, not god king, but king of the gods. And this sets off a period of time that lasts for the rest of ancient Egypt's history, where the cult center, the main religious center of ancient Egypt, is in Thebes. in the temple, at the Karnak temple, with the Amun priesthood. So much so that just a few generations after Hatshepsut, they become so freaking strong that, in my opinion, the reason, and I'm not going to do a deep dive, I'm just saying, in my opinion, the reason for Akhenaten to leave Thebes and do all of his Atenism has to do with the priesthood in Karnak becoming so powerful and so rich that they, in a very tangible way, threaten the power of the Pharaoh. Now, I will say, I'm not 100% sure that Akhenaten himself thinks of it that way, but I'm very positive that his mother and his wife Nefertiti, his mother Tia and his wife Nefertiti sees it this way. Either a Wahusel, beginning of the 18th dynasty, the first pharaoh is Amose. He's followed by Amenhotep, Amenhotep the first. Then you have Thutmose the first. Thutmose the first is the father of Hatshepsut.
Okay,
Being
so
pharaoh,
third generation of this new dynasty that's kicking ass and kicking priests
exactly.
too, apparently, it seems.
Yes, and kicking Hyksos. And Thutmose the first, of course, as all kings in those days, he not only does he have multiple wives, but he also have, of course, an entire harem of women who are, some of them are just concubines or they are wives. And then, of course, there is the Chemet Weret. The Chemet Weret is, sorry, a bit of Swedish came in there. Why not go English, ancient Egyptian, Swedish, English? Is the mother of Hatshepsut. And they only have 2 children, 2 girls. And only one lives past toddlerhood, and that is Hatshepsut. Now, as I said, Thutmose the first, of course, has other wives, but he can't, because this is quite a new dynasty. They are a new family. The pharaohs doesn't, and the Egyptian people and the priests and so forth, they don't view it like they are different families. They all claim ancestry back to the first pharaohs.
Of course.
And they do that through the claim of divine blood.
Oh, that's a neat workaround. If you can't show heredity, you just, it's divine blood, though.
Exactly. And since we have just come out of this second intermediate period, and Egypt is once again unified, it so happens that Thutmose isn't of pure royal blood. Thutmose the First is the son of I believe he's the son of a dignitary under I have to, because I might be mixing him up with he is a son probably to some. He has grown up in the harem, and he is married to the mother of Hatshepsut, who herself is of pure royal blood, meaning her mother is the Hemet the great royal wife, and her father, of course, is the ruling pharaoh.
A brief interjection. Do you suppose this is why so many cultures adopted like matrilineal, lineage or something? So you could tell who is pure-blooded something without them having to marry their siblings all the time. Like if the descent is measured through the mother or through the father, if you only do it through one side, they can still marry other people and prevent that Habsburg effect.
It's funny that you say that. Because in a way, that's exactly what I was going to say next, only the other way around.
I'm peeking at Deviant's notes, folks.
Oh no!
Wow.
I see. You must have flipped the image because it was the other way around. You have to flip your camera so it's not mirrored.
It shouldn't be mirrored. I don't know what's happening. I just work here.
So since when Thutmose the First dies, the only child of pure royal blood is Hatshepsut. She is married to her half brother, who we know as Thutmose II. His mother, we are not 100% sure who his real mother was. She might have been one of Thutmose's other wives. He might even have been just the son of a concubine. It's more likely that he was actually a son. So
I guess you get your sons where you can find them.
So
to
legitimize.
Was he fabulous because the sun will come out? Never mind. I'm mixing my eras. It's fine. But Aunt Jer has a question. Are you using royal and divine interchangeably as far as this bloodlines thing?
No. Not fully interchangeably. And I don't think I have done it in this so far this time.
I don't think so either, but that does lead me to a related question. And I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not sure, which is why it's a good question to ask. Pharaohs are held to be divine people on earth, and royals are like, they're related to them, but they themselves are just mortals. So is it like, at what point does a person become a living god? Is it like effectively the coronation?
So that is how the culture is oftentimes described for ease and simplicity. But the fact is that the Pharaoh isn't really divine. He's not really a god. He's kind of more like the seed of a god. I wouldn't say demigod, because a demigod, then you have one parent is a god and one is.
I mean, if your parent is a previous pharaoh, then you could kind of make that case. But I think I get what you're saying. It's what the Abrahamic tribes might call a prophet, a person that the gods speak through to the exclusion of the other mortals.
Yeah, but with an extra like with an extra not blessing. I want to say that it's in the blood that they will become God. Because remember, in the early days of the ancient Egypt, the only people who were mummified and who were thought of to have an afterlife was the king, because upon death he would be transformed through mummification and trials and tribulation in the afterlife to join the sunboat and travel with Ra. And the human seed within him would stay on earth in the form of the new king. But since we are talking about a period of time of over 3,000 years, these things vary. How, as I said, during the Old Kingdom, unless you were royal, there were no point for you to be mummified, because there wasn't any afterlife. And then after the first intermediate period, you see what we call a bit cheek and tongue, but still the democratization of the afterlife. So it starts to become available even for the lower classes.
Resurrections for everyone.
Yay! But even then, the Pharaoh still has he is the one who has a special task to fulfill in the afterlife. As a regular person, the afterlife is just exactly as on Earth, but it's a utopia.
Ooh.
So it's always perfect weather. You sow your wheat and it's perfect yield every time. You're never hungry. You're never, it's never too warm or too cold. You're never sick. It's
An
it's
actual
perfect.
utopia. Like nothing's magic. It's just things are nice all the time. And I want to pause there for a second, because there's so many people, especially today, especially theists today, who assume that humans are overwhelmingly negative, that we're always imagining the worst possible outcomes and we have the worst possible desires. But when you give humanity a clean slate, whether you're looking at the Egyptians or the Greeks or whatever, if you just give them a blank slate and tell them, imagine the afterlife, the first thing they come up with is always like this world, but peaceful, you know?
Yep.
Every time. That's the first thing that occurs to humans, by and large. This whole, burn in hellfire for eternity and suffer, that takes a twisted motherfucker to come up with later, you know?
Yeah.
Left to their own
Kinda, yeah.
devices, aren't obsessed with, horrible urges and uncontrollable desires. They just want to grow their damn wheat and be left alone.
Mm-hmm. And if they have the means or a bit of skill, they can always bring their ushaptis with them. So because of course, since what's the word? Not transcription, not subscript. What's the word when, let's say in the US you have not everyone goes into the military and does
a draft?
Not a draft is more conscription.
Yes.
Yes, conscription. Because the flood needs, every time there has been a flood, you need to redig canals and divide up the land, and there is a lot of organized cooperation. Same with the pyramids. And other big, they're very communal in that way, that where you come together and do this thing, and you have to do it. It is forced in a way, but it's also, if you don't, if you try to get away with it and not do your part, you're also not going to be able to take part in the result. So it's forced, but also you kind of want to do it. And that's the Egyptians thought of the afterlife the same way, that there were going to be, you have to work the field and help with construction projects, but
you have to work together, and you call that an afterlife? Oh goodness.
You can have your ushapti. Ushapti means answerer, literally answerer. It's a little figurine. So when in the afterlife, when the order comes that it's your time to dig the new irrigation canals, the ushapti goes, I'm here, and they do it.
So sort of like a spiritual servant, but it's also kind of yourself?
It is yourself, but you can have multiple. I believe in Tutankhamun's tomb, I think they found like 400 something, and in tombs of more noble people, not necessarily royal, but noblemen and so forth, the ushaptis are divided into like work teams. So they, I'm gonna see if I They are
I
so
want
cute.
hundreds of helper selves. Because like if it's myself, then it's not like exploiting anybody. It's just more of me working together to do something that benefits. Oh shit, that's just a society, isn't it? We can't have that.
Have you seen Fantasia?
A long time ago.
Okay. Do you remember that in Fantasia there is, I think it's what's his name? Musse Pig. The little mouse. Not Winnie the Pig. Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse, of course.
Yeah. You mean Sorcerer's Apprentice where he animates
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Did you know that that story is directly taken from an ancient Egyptian story that's was found in Egypt on papyri?
I did not.
And what he tries to utilize is the magic of the Ushaptis.
That makes a lot of sense because like there's the senior sorcerer who's like, it's a very European setting, but that's what the Europeans did, especially in the medieval period. They're like trying to gather all the knowledge and secrets from other parts of the world because they're keenly aware that so much knowledge has been lost.
Yep.
Fascinating.
So let's see. I get the feeling that Google has become bad when it comes to everything, really.
It's been less useful recently. There's two main problems. The first is that they keep shoving infrastructure into the AI that no one asked for and no one wants. And it's making the real search results less effective because it's monopolizing the bandwidth. The other problem is that now that we have an oligarchy and they're an American company, they're subject to state censorship and they need to suck up to the oligarchs. And then there's, of course, there's their own corporate interests. And so there's all these conflicting factors that are getting in the way of just simply showing us the search results, which is what made them the biggest search engine in the world in the first place.
Yeah, because like there is a fuck ton of images that at first might look good because the image is so small, and then when you look at it, it's like, oh, it's crappy modern copies because this link takes me to some fucking store. Which is very annoying because if there is something we have a fuck ton of, except from Ostraka and little Schepper beetles, it's Ushaptis.
Like beetles and scarabs and whatnot.
Little messenger. Okay, here. And of course, I can't just show the picture. I have to go to the fucking site. So,
so many tabs and things. Well, I keep drawing you off on tangents. This is the nature of how I do. I suppose we should. Oh, hey, look at this. I got to remove this and damn it, I'm adding and removing the wrong things. I'm bad at my job.
And I need to find my way back to. Can you see them on the screen, or should I
They're
try to?
little small. Can you make the window like less wide? Because it's displaying as very, very narrow.
Mm.
That didn't actually change. Why didn't that change the display? What? I don't know why. That's No, the display allotment area is normal video set. I don't know. It's C'est la vie. But yeah, they look like itty bitty sarcophagi. Or sarcophagus girls, I suppose. They don't have to be guys.
Sarcophagus. No, this one is, because this is Amenhotep II, and he's in the classical Osiris form, so like a mummy, and you can't really see it, but it's written with hieroglyphics over his body, is spells to make the Ushapti able to answer the call. And
Ooh, it's got some smurfiness going on.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at the ones from, for example, the tomb of Tutankhamun, you can see that their like job title, they all have his face and they look basically the same, but then they have like garbs of the profession that they are. So it's the overseer and the scribe and the surveyor of the land, and all of these that his courtiers usually, or statesmen. There is this word that I can never remember. Not dignitary. What's the word when you have? It's not a profession. It's not the title.
A role?
Well, yeah, it is a role, of course. Oh, no.
More pretties.
More pretties.
Is wondering, where can I get my own Ushapti? Do you have to make them yourself? Do you need a special craft person to make them?
I would say you can make them yourself, but they do need their inscription. Otherwise, they are just tiny figurines.
This is sort of like the golem thing that we get from Jewish lore, right? Like it's not exactly an artificial person. It's just like another copy, for lack of a better term, of yourself. But like it needs its programming written on it, or it won't work.
Exactly. See, this guy, he's already in his little coffin. I've actually been thinking about making Ushaptis. I have Kung Fu Ushaptis that I have made. Kung Fu Ushaptis. They're little figurines that are in made of wire. They're portrayed in various kung fu stances, so they are ready to fight. I have tons of them.
Nobody kill Deviant, because then her battle Ushaptis will wreck you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, what these are, and if we go to like these are the 11th dynasty, so that's Middle Kingdom, much more simple. And of course, it has to do with how rich is the person and so forth. But yeah, I absolutely love them. Look at this one. Woohoo. Woohoo.
I know, it's almost like, I want to say like children, but it's more like cloning, because they're not children, they're more of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And meanwhile, you can sit in the sun and wade in the Nile, and why should you have to shovel snow, or in the case of Egypt, sand, and get water and all of that boring stuff when you're in paradise? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, make the minions do it.
Mm-hmm.
Except the minions are yourself, which is, it's such a weird, it's almost karmic. It's like you can have anything you desire, but it's you who has to do it for you.
Mm-hmm. A bit, actually, yeah.
You want a palace, you better make some architects.
Oh yeah, and there are architect Ushaptis.
Ooh, that's another interesting twist. Like, what if it's almost like the Matrix, right? Like, what if you could pre-program a version of yourself to be an architect? Like, I don't know architecture, but what if I could make a me who did? You know?
Yeah. You're spot on in the function of the Ushapti.
Hell yeah. Andrew says
They
shovel
are
snow.
there
Swedish
to work.
interpretation.
Mm-hmm. They're there to do work for you because you are done. You're in the afterlife. It's your time to rest and enjoy life and be in this beautiful paradise on earth that is ancient Egypt.
Hell yeah. And that leads me into another thing. I'm gonna take away your Shopties.
Yes.
One of the things that made Hatshepsut so famous today is not just the fact they tried to erase her, but her big ass fucking temple. Like, what's going on with this thing? It's
absolutely, I can't express how much I love that temple. It is the most beautiful architectural. It's not just that it's not just the most beautiful temple. And it's absolutely massive. And I cannot get over the fact that when I was there, I still couldn't really fathom that I was on site. It took me almost a week. It was like the day or 2 days before we left that I start to like, I'm really here. Because every single thing I saw there, I have seen thousands of times in books and images and not in real life. It was an out of reality experience, but it's massive and it's carved into the cliff. So this is not her, it's not her tomb. It's her mortuary temple where her cult was to be celebrated. And it started before she died.
Oh.
Yes.
So she had her own. Okay, did she run her cult, or were they just like a really excitable fan club?
I would say a bit of both. There were priests there, and we have to go back a tiny bit to Karnak to really understand their El Bari. The Karnak temple, the El Bari is in on the west bank of the Nile, on the opposite side of Luxor and the Karnak temple.
Okay.
And it's towards the Nile on the other side. So when you looked at the temple from the front, if you would take your right arm and point it straight out from your body to the right over the mountain, that's the Valley of the Kings.
Ooh.
So I'm trying to like, what shall I focus on and what's less important?
I know there's so much.
Amun,
It's just,
I know,
just...
Amun, king of the gods. Amos was the first king, the first pharaoh of the 18th dynasty. He was one of the pharaohs who kicked Hyksos out of Egypt and reunified the land and restored it to what it was prior. In doing so, because Amos and his family was from Thebes, he gave a lot of gåvor, gifts, priesthood rich, made king, made priesthood rich. prophylactic. It was promoted by the king. Amos was married. His great royal wife was Amos Nefertari. So Amos the first was married to Amos Nefertari. Amos Nefertari instituted, because it is in the 18th dynasty that we have had women that has acted as regents for their sons until they have grown up. We have had that. We have even had one woman, Sobek Nefru, who ruled as king in the 12th dynasty. But it is in the 18th dynasty that women really get access to true power, not just power in the form of being the nanny for the future king, because the old fart died and you can't have a toddler running a country. But true political power, that happens in the 18th dynasty. And it is in the case of Hatshepsut, she utilizes this new position that's been introduced by Amos Nefertari, that is called God's wife of Amun, or the divine adoratress. So this is a role in the Karnak temple that is the first one to she gives it to herself. Amos Nefertari does, and later on Hatshepsut carries this title as the god's wife of Amun. It is your role, because the temples weren't they weren't like churches are today, or mosques or synagogues. They were literally the house where the god lived, and the god lived there in form of a small statue. And this statue was given, it was woken up in the morning, given sweet smells, and it was given breakfast, food to eat. It was dressed. It had makeup put on and rituals performed, and everyone left the room and left the god to eat, and so forth. But humans want more than just clothes and food and sweet smell. They also want a partner, a husband, a wife. So of course, same goes for the gods. So when Hatshepsut is, even before she's married to her half-brother Thutmose II, she has this position of God's wife of Amun. That means that she has a unique access to political power and religious power that is there is no comparison to inside Egypt or outside. Because she's above the high priest. She's the wife of the main god. She is the one who performs the wifely acts that rejuvenates the god and gives him the ability to
the wifely acts.
Okay, she jerks off a god statue. It's long and short of it.
I appreciate your attempt at discretion. I'm just easily amused. But right, she did so much stuff, and it's kind of ridiculous how much stuff she did in the she had something like 21, 22 years. Part of that is as regent before she kind of set Tutmos III, she like set him aside and was like, you know what, he's the Horus, I'm the Osiris, I'm running the show here. And she kind of, and this is what makes it interesting, one more thing that makes it interesting, a twist to the story, you might say, and possibly why later generations they were more like, maybe we need to erase her, but they couldn't, because she building projects. This temple is just one, but she was in charge of building hundreds of structures, all up and down, upper and lower kingdom, like every freaking which way. She was like, we're building shit, bitches. We're gonna build back better. It's what we do. But she also she took on a bunch of male characteristics. She started wearing male regalia. She's like, I am not queen, I am king, motherfucker.
And the reason for that is that in Egypt and in ancient Egyptian, there is no word for queen. As a woman in the royal family, you can be the daughter of the king, you can be the wife of the king, or the great royal wife of the king and the mother of the king. In that, so when we say queen, we understand that a queen has political power. Maybe not as much as the king, but then we also have like Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth and Catherine the Great and
the other Elizabeth.
What's that?
Yeah, there've been a lot of. It's always controversial, especially in these highly patriarchal, prudish societies, when a woman reigns. But there have been instances of women reigning, or at least having equal power. You know, like when the crown of Spain was united. Theoretically, the queen had just as much power as the king.
Oh, definitely. But so Thutmose II, Hatshepsut's half brother, they have one kid, a daughter. He dies. Thutmose the second dies, and the only other kid, the only other male kid, is the guy who is going to go on to become Thutmose III, also known as Egypt's Napoleon. He becomes a great warrior king. He lays waste to all the lands. But he's just like 2 years old, maybe, when the Pharaoh dies. And Hatshepsut steps in to that void to become the regent, so the glorified nanny, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But already when after perhaps 5 or 6 years, so before Thutmose III is even 10 years old, she decides to crown herself Pharaoh. Now, this doesn't mean that she somehow, because Thutmose III, even though he's just a little boy, he's still being crowned, and it's not like she's overthrowing him. It becomes a co-regency, but she has all the power because he's just a kid. When he ages up and reaches his early teens, he's sent to the army to train with the army. And based on the evidence we have, and contrary to what Egyptologists and archaeologists thought when Hatshepsut and her temple and so forth was rediscovered in the 1800s CE.
How do you lose?
He didn't hate her. Huh?
How do you lose a temple this big? I mean, so I finally found an image where there's some humans for scale. And here's one of the Horus statues next to the entrance to the temple. Like, this thing's got to be fucking 15 meters tall.
Yeah. You should see. Let's see.
And at the scale of the image we were looking at before, like, it's not even visible. I mean, hell, even at a close up, like you can see people there, but like not really though. And this is much closer than the original image.
So, oh, for fuck's sake, captcha. Åtkomstnekad hittar jag inte. Behöver inte finnas sidan. Nej, men kan jag få... Oh, there. So, dela på den här. Jo! No, wait. Vi ska sluta dela på...
Yes?
So, here. Whoops. What's happening?
I know we're all pushing. It's Monday, folks. If you're watching live, it's Monday. Live broadcasting. Subscribe, join us for more adventures like this. Literally digging into the past. It's so much fun. It's so neat. All right, here we go. What do we got?
Yeah. So we're gonna see. These are these are parts of the temple.
Oh. The temple comes with spare parts?
You can see the ramp going up, one of the ramps going up.
Yeah, looks like the one to the upper terrace.
Mm-hmm. And sadly, you don't see. So when this was rediscovered, it was in pieces.
Oh, so they
Yeah.
found a pile of blocks and some ramps, and they're like, I wonder if this was a thing once.
Yep.
To hate it, you know. Well, I mean, you leave your Legos out for a few thousand years, they may get knocked over.
That's true. And I mean, I do like puzzles, but it's kind of annoying when someone has done this huge puzzle and they've spent a lot of time on it, and someone comes and just like a kitty spinning out on it, and that's one thing. It's we're not blaming the kitties here, but then someone comes and starts to steal pieces from the puzzle
Oh, because they're building other things.
Yeah, they're building other puzzles, and I mean, I don't have to tell you how fucked up that
That
puzzle is going to end
explains
up.
a lot, because like I'm gonna switch back to the big overview image of the temple. And, like, this pretty part of the temple, the lower and upper terraces, but right next to it, we see something very similar, but it looks like a construction project, and it's because it is, because the Legos all got knocked down.
And the images that I showed you, I just did a quick Googling to give an idea. But it's also the case that this isn't in the middle of the desert, of course, but it's still desert. And they do have these flash floods that happens. And I have seen images as recent as from the 1970s, where restoration work had begun, but far from what it is now. And
it's still so much. Like right here, we've got, it looks like they're sorting the different blocks into sizes and whatnot. Like what we have today is half the temple. This is only half. It's not even quite half. But we can also see right here on the side, this part is still kind of covered. Like it's excavated well, but like you can kind of see this is what they would have seen in the 1800s. Just this slope of sand and bullshit, and maybe a few of the taller bits sticking out with right angles and things. They had to
and
dig
many of them smashed.
So yeah, they're rebuilding the damn temple is what's going on. Like you can see some of the outer wall over here. I assume it's the outer wall. Maybe it's a divider to yet another terrace we haven't found is under this pile of dirt.
Yeah, and it could also be a like a courtyard temple, because
there's caves up here.
Yeah, the temple goes, what we see from the outside is just a small part of the temple. It goes into the mountain, and there is a shrine there, amongst other things, to Hathor, who was a lady of the mountain. And there was actually a Hathor cult. And more than that, if you were to look at a map from a top view, there is actually a straight line from the temple terrace. I don't know why I'm pointing on my screen because you can't see where I point. But the ramps going down, and there would have been sycamore. So if you go down, you see 4, 2, 1. That would have continued and lined with myrrh trees, with
Right.
pools of water.
Trees, because she's the one who commissioned the expedition to the other country where they come from, and she was like, "Look at the cool trees I found."
And a row of a mix of cryosphinxes, which are the body of a lion and the head of a ram. And the ram, of course, is the animal that's connected to the god Amun.
Okay.
And the regular the sphinx we're thinking of, with where you have body of a lion and the head of a human, and in this case that human, of course, being Hatshepsut, and that leading all the way from her temple to the Karnak temple. I'm not saying it went underwater, but to the Nile, you take a boat over and it continues and goes straight into the temple of Amun in Karnak.
So, that's so cool. Like, we know Egyptians were crazy precise with some of their construction and whatnot. For example, we can see right on this blueprint that you can actually, if you laid out a string from the back of chamber 12 here, it would go all the way out through the front gates without ever touching a wall. Like, it's straight. If you kept going with that string, it would be really cool to find out for sure, but it would not surprise me if that string could go all the way to the statue of Amun without touching a wall.
I mean, today, everything, of course, looks very different today for many reasons. But there used to be this, and for some people it still is, when the temple of Hatshepsut was discovered, in the early part of the 1800s. I believe it was Champollion himself who was there. That French bastard. Trying to read the hieroglyphic inscriptions on the wall. He was very confused because it was obvious that it was talking about a king and that this was a royal monument. I mean, everything about it speaks for it to being a royal mortuary temple, or at the very least a royal temple. but here and there were the feminine ending of certain words, which was weird. Why?
Just a little hint. Like, wait. Why is there's this big temple, and why are the words feminine? It's very strange. Why would they do such an unorthodox thing?
How could they miss this? They were so precise in everything. So
yeah, typos like that on a
detailed.
royal temple. If it was
Yeah.
intentional, if it was a deliberate defacement, they'd be put to death. And if it wasn't intentional, how could this have been missed?
Right? And it turns out that it was, in fact, not a queen, but a female king. And this is where the role of Senenmut becomes interesting from an Egyptological perspective and a sort of a critical view of the subject of Egyptology and archaeology. And I guess humans at large. Senenmut was he was many things. He was the overseer of the granaries. He had basically every single top. Imagine, it's a bit of a disgusting comparison because of the people we're talking about, and I apologize, Hatshepsut. It's almost as if Trump would instead of all of these Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and yada yada yada, he just goes with Epstein. Epstein is the head of the FBI. Epstein is the the first lady and the Secretary of State and press secretary and all of it.
It's the Epstein administration. My goodness.
Mm-hmm. I feel really so fucking bad for doing this comparison. Jag försöker be en bön. Sorry, I'm trying to pray to Hatshepsut and the ancient gods. The issue is that I never understood praying, so I don't know how. So it's just blank. But I'm sorry. I will never do it again.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I've had so many people say, Ember, have you tried? Well, they used my dead name at the time, but you know, Ember, have you tried praying to the Jesus men? And I said, well, yes, I've tried. And they're like, but did you do it right? And I'm like, well, how does one do it right? What
exactly?
Do you? It's fucking wild. This image I found, the left side, it's a before and after from the excavations. This was taken. The left side one was taken just before they started excavating in 1894, I believe it said.
Yeah.
And the excavation ran until like 1907, and since then they've been rebuilding the Legos. And there's still a lot. Just found more Legos, 1,500 more pieces they just found last year at where a temple used to be down the road.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of work to do still, but this is a before and after. There's something clearly there, but it does look a lot more like just sand and some ancient blocks. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very interested in the ancient blocks, but it's not obvious this giant temple is here.
I mean, if it's brownish sand colored kind of, I'm gonna be interested.
Yeah.
If you can dig in it.
They made an attempt to take it from roughly the same position, because while some of the places where the dirt has been excavated are gone, the parts that remain, like this doubled hill, you can't see my mouse, it's fine. There's a bunch of cliff elements that are in almost exactly the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not bad considering how vastly the foreground of the image has changed.
Yeah, so when you said that they really did a fabulous job of erasing her. And it is a real shame. Because as you said, she reigned for about 22 years. And when she died of old age, so first she was married, and then she became, or she crowned herself king, Pharaoh.
Which is the best way to do it, because honestly, you don't need no stinky priest's authority. Just bloop, do it yourself.
Exactly. Maybe I haven't done it so much in this community because of the general people in these parts aren't so they don't look very kindly at gods. But I'm gonna say it. In the future, when I have grown up and died, I'm going to become God King of Earth.
Fuck. That's why you have the Ushapti. Did I remember that word correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Yay. If it's been more than 10 minutes since we said it, I'm not sure anymore.
Hey, I'm glad when I remember which language I'm supposed to speak. But so when she dies, she leaves a nation that is the flourishing when it comes to art. Woo! Thank you, Hunter. When it comes to architecture, wealth, stability, it's an absolutely and foreign contacts with trade contacts with foreign nations and so forth. Egypt is absolutely booming after her reign. And it's also a reign with practically no wars. There are like the Egyptians likes to do. They go to the surrounding nations, they beat them up, say give us all your shit, and they go home.
Yeah, I recall reading there was some evidence that she sent expeditions, whether they were trading or doing a little light raiding and plundering is up for debate. But they went into the Sinai and possibly even into the Levant, up into Canaan and things.
They the expedition that she's most famous for, that she herself, and it's depicted on the walls of their bari. I believe it's the second terrace wall, where it's the expedition to Punt, that we don't really know where it is, but probably somewhere around the Horn of Africa.
Yes, the punt.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at something about that earlier, but I got distracted because there's so many cool things about Hatshepsut.
I know.
My goodness, we need so much more show. We could literally do a week on just this. Like, for example, did you know there's I mean, Deviant definitely knew, but did you folks watching know that there's a mummy that might be hers, but we don't know, but it might be.
It might be. It might be. She is exhibited in the new what the fudge do they call it, the newly opened monster museum that's so fucking ugly, but I'm sure it's good. It's like Gab or something, like, or Geo or something. Great Egyptian Gem, Great Egyptian Museum, Gem.
Oh, was it Americans behind that?
But and the funny thing is that there are other mummies that might actually be her, and that might actually fit the mold better. But since it was just that story about that mummy, I'm not gonna shit talk Sai Havas, because I do respect his knowledge. I do respect the work that he has done. But he's also a fucking asshole and a narcissist. And also, he's no longer, he doesn't have the, he used to be the guy that if you wanted to excavate or do anything in Egypt in terms of Egyptology, he was the one to say yay or nay. And it's happened that he just decided that someone didn't pay him the respect he felt he should have. And the individual was barred, and they are an Egyptologist. It's their livelihood. But that's a completely different story, and not the story that Hatshepsut tells when she tells the story of her birth. Do you know the story of her birth?
I do not.
It's a fascinating one.
I can imagine. We do need to wrap up soon, but I see Kelly. The next show is not live, so we'll do this story and then we'll call it for today.
Okay. Good, because I almost missed this one
story and then just stop. I mean, we could, but then
We
everyone
could,
would hate,
but
and
that's true.
we can't have that.
No.
As I love 2 hours into the show, we're getting to the subject to birth. We don't do anything. We went on about the temple. It's hard for me to do ones like this because I know it's a subject that's really important to Deviant. She cares a whole lot about, but I'm like a squirrel with a field full of acorns. I'm like, all these different things are exciting, and I want to go over here, and I want to go over here, and I want to go over there, but I also want to let Deviant present in the way she wants to.
Well, I feel kind of the same because there is so much, and I get lost in my own fascination of the subject. At the same time, I'm so delighted and just I get these butterflies when you start to bring something up, and I hear that you also have knowledge about this. You have insights and an interest and an understanding. It's not just facts, it's the understanding, and then sparks other stories and tangents upon tangent. But the birth
Inciting
of
further chaos.
Hatshepsut, the birth of Hatshepsut.
Yes.
Do you remember that a long, long time ago, when this show started, I told you that Hatshepsut's family was very new to the throne. Her father, Tutmosis I, wasn't of pure royal blood. Her mom was. So she can't, just because she was married to the old king and daughter of the king before him, and she doesn't have the right to just say, okay, I'm gonna rule now, I'm closest in succession. It doesn't work that way. So she has to have a layers upon layers of not objectifying, of the validating.
Ah, yes, the justification for the thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Why should she be more than just the temporary regent until the real king is grown up? Well, on the walls at the Bari, there is a relief, a painted relief known as the birthing relief or the birthing scene, where she tells the story about how, because her mother, you remember, was of pure royal blood. It's her dad that's the issue, but it's also the dad who's the real, and it's supposed to be the male who goes and becomes the next king, yada, yada, yada. The story tells us that one night, the god Amun himself, king of the gods, comes to Hatshepsut's mother at night, dressed like her husband. So he looks like it's kind of a gay Gabriel and Maria situation type of thing, but not really, but kind of. So, and it's a beautiful scene of Amun feeding a sign of Ankh, the sign of life, to Hatshepsut's mother, and she is holding her hand under his elbow. And that is basically, I mean, it's hardcore porn at that point. And from this union in the night, Hatshepsut is born. And from that moment, she refers to herself and Amun. She talks about my father, Amun. And that fully legitimizes her from a religious perspective to this power that is supposed to only be honed by men. But it doesn't mean that she pushes her father aside. On the contrary, she's very she even moves his her father's sarcophagus from his tomb to her own tomb.
So wait. So we're playing what's the I can't think of the name of the damn game, but we're playing like the cups and balls thing with the sarcophaguses.
Kinda, but not really. They do that, but that's later on in like the 21st dynasty. They just move him so that they are buried together. So it's not that they move the body from the sarcophagus. They move him in the sarcophagus from the tomb that's been made for him to the tomb where she is going to be laid, so that they can spend it. Father and daughter can.
I see. It's sort of like the family crypt vault things that we have today. Sort of.
Yeah.
Deal.
Sort of deal, yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know. It's what's really weird to me is that there's so many things we can find partial analogs for in the present, but there's also significant differences. And so in a way, it's almost like an uncanny valley effect, because if it were exactly the same, then it'd just click as like, sure, this is just what humans have done since they figured out how to do this. And if it were completely different, then it'd be like, sure, every culture does things differently. But having it be like partly the same, it tickles my brain.
I know. I find it absolutely fascinating, and I don't know. I think it's a testament to the human. We as human have a very intriguing tendency to be both. We're very innovative and ingenious, but we're also very lazy.
Well, that's why we're innovative.
Exactly. And it's like we like new things and we want to be special.
I wish I
But
was
we also
special.
like when we're with other people that we recognize and are just like us and it feels like home. And do they have Swedish coffee at the hotel?
Swedish. I don't think I've actually had Swedish coffee.
Like
how finding real Italian coffee is hard here.
You have to because so there are many ways you could see it. I could just send you a packet of Swedish coffee, but then I can't be sure that you are gonna prepare it properly, because rumor has it that American coffee is watery sugar.
That's true for most things here in the US.
Yeah, I have to kidnap you here.
It's
Don't go anywhere.
Well, I mean, I need to get out of here sooner or later. I probably should have taken my own advice and left on January 19th of last year, but we work with what we've got, and it's an oof. In some ways, it's not as bad as it could have been, the current administration, but in other ways, it's worse than we expected. Like, I've mentioned a couple of times on different shows, but just as a quick, for example, here in my state, we have enshrined in our Constitution that access to health care must be guaranteed and must be applied to everyone equally, regardless of sex, religion, race, etc., etc. And one of the things that's specifically enumerated is gender. So there should be no distinction based on sex or gender, just what you need medically. There's a couple of procedures that I need, not for gender reasons, but so I don't fucking die, that are no longer available. I can get behavioral psychotherapy about them, but the actual surgery to put parts of my abdomen back together, not available. Like, and that's in a state where it's guaranteed in our state constitution because of changes at the federal level. So they're being very, very sneaky, very bullshit, very brainwormy, you might say, about the ways they're trying to undermine our access to both rights and medical care and everything else. Rather than like just build death camps, they're just making it so we die, you know? And so I need to get the fuck out of here soon.
Yeah, and I was thinking a couple of things while you were talking now. You say it's been bad, but not that bad, and I understand what you mean. Like, they're not walking from house to house and just killing everyone in sight.
Right. They're not just rounding us up. They don't have
Exactly.
to. They already know where we are because, you know,
That
we
too.
updated our driver's licenses and whatever.
But the flip side of that is, or maybe not the flip side, but we should also remember that this is just year one. All the shit that's happened, every single thing has pushed everything that is to come so much forward. It's going to be easier and easier to do more and more horrid shit. And other thing is, and this is something that I've been thinking about when I have listened to or spoken to people who, for reasons beyond comprehension, they think fascism is cool. Just don't call it fascism because then it's bad.
Right. Call it anything other than what it is.
Exactly.
Politically correct language. The trains run on time. You know, we need to be sensitive to their nationalist feelings. We have to be super careful. Oh, I'm channeling some Luxander right now, my snark. We need to be sensitive of their feelings. The poor little snowflakes, they will melt, they will cry. They need a safe space, safe from all the diverse peoples.
That's the thing, though, because what the people have said to me, like, take the insurrection. When I have called it an insurrection, and the counter argument is that there wasn't like, they didn't drive into the White House with, or the Capitol with tanks and shot it to pieces with missiles, and I think there is not a misunderstanding, but a misexpectation where people don't take into account that when we have seen what happened in Europe, what happened in Italy in the 1920s, and then in Germany in the 1930s, and for that matter, what happened in Russia in 17. Those were states that were in some, they were already in a state of or gradient of authoritarianism. They weren't solid, established, sedentary democracies. Because what democracy in large part hinges on is this slow pace where things has time to take root. And when I say things, the systems that builds the society. So when you take a nation that has been a democracy of sorts, with all its faults, still a democracy of sorts, for 300 years, it's going to take some time to dismantle that system. You're not going to see a nation of the size and with a political system that has been ruling the last 300 years. You can't just go into the White House and you can't do what you could do in England or Sweden in the 13, 14, and 1500s. You can't just lock up the king and throw away the key, literally.
Well, I mean, we could. Perhaps we should.
Yeah, but you won't get the change that when that was done in Sweden, for instance, suddenly there was a completely new king and a new rule. But if something happens to Trump, then mini Hitler Vance comes in and nothing changes. The regime is bigger than the one guy at the top. He's basically just the orange painted nose.
Yeah, he's a figurehead who throws tantrums. But as much as I love tangents, let's not do tangerine tangents. We do need to wrap up. I have so much I need to get to today, and I'm starting to panic about it. So we really, really got to go.
That's no good. That's no good. Hey, Amber, quick question.
Yes.
Would you want to do another one on deep dive a bit more into Hatshepsut?
Possibly. I'm not averse to it, but I think we'd need to pick like specific things to aim at.
Yeah.
Otherwise we'll end up covering the same ground again, you know?
Yeah. That was exactly my thought.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. We've got some, as you know, I often try to set up the next week early in this week. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do that today, but we've got a couple of ideas for either next week or future weeks. And so I always have too many ideas, as y'all know. But
I know.
Thank you so much for joining me. There's despite all of this, there's still so much more. And that's just Hatshepsut. There's dynasties. There's so much. We don't. We may need to do like an entire Egypt channel, Deviant. We may need to. Yeah. Anyhow, thank you all so much for joining today. I appreciate all of y'all. I appreciate you, Deviant. I appreciate all the people who help and support and who click the subscribe button. If you haven't done it yet, maybe do that. Kelly had to cancel her show because her guest didn't show up. So I've changed our redirect. I'm going to send y'all over to the wonderful Jovan Bradley, who may or may not be doing some education of MAGA folks, which kind of connects to what we were just talking about. But thank you all so much. And we'll see you again tomorrow. What am I doing tomorrow? I had this window pulled up and then I changed it to go do something else. Young Earth creationism. Why are there young Earth creationists? How did this get started? That's tomorrow. Hope you join us. And as always, remember, you don't have to knock over someone else's giant temple made of Lego because you are better than cults and things. And I'm winging it. Thank y'all. Thanks to all our patrons and top-level members for February. Miranda, Karen Butcher, Jimmy Tux, Ian Chen, Maya Adkison, Jessica the Transmetal Alchemist, Robin Webster, Lilith, Ember Lynn, The Barely Bearable Atheist, Eric Wander, Jason Jacoby, Liliball Trades, Deviant Outcast, Secular Feelinist, Kelly King, the Detroit Atheist Queen, Geo Sam, Thriver Scapegoat, The Godless Engineer, Why? Because Weed Bro, Katie Bluebird, and Fro from Norway. And you can add your name here next month by signing up at patreon.com/betterthanember or by joining Emberships here on YouTube at the Cinder level, which also includes all the custom emojis, tons of member-exclusive content, member-only live streams, and a bunch of other stuff. I deeply appreciate all the supporters who keep this channel going. Thank you so much. Because of you, we're building a wonderful community that I'm very proud of.